Young people today live in such a sexualised world. They're just inundated with sexual messages, and that can be really confusing. So we need to educate in terms of biology. That's always been needed. But we need to extend that by talking to young people about their feelings, about society, about their values. Schoolrooms are perfect for that because teachers deal with that kind of discussion all the time.
I think we often don't give kids enough credit for how much they can take this information on board.
Students are really happy to receive knowledge. That's one of the reasons why young people are accessing porn, is they want to actually have some information about sex. They just aren't going to a good source. So when you give them the opportunity to learn about their bodies, about relationships, to have discussions in a safe environment, they just love it.
I remember a little boy come up to me after a session in a primary school and saying to me, "Thank you so much for teaching me about tampons." He said, "I asked my mum what they were and she wouldn't tell me." They often don't get questions answered honestly, and that's just all he wanted.
The holistic approach to sexuality education works best. So you need everyone in the school involved in one way or another.
We call it a whole school approach, right through from the principal, who I would say is one of the key people.
You need parents involved, school council needs to know what's going on.
Right through to welfare workers, school nurses, those sorts of support staff, through obviously to teachers themselves, because the evidence tells us teachers are probably best placed to teach it, but often they don't want to or feel embarrassed or nervous about teaching it.
So I've recently come from the TAFE sector to work at Family Planning Victoria. I think it's really important that people understand that this is just like teaching other subjects as well. They may be a little bit fearful of the subject matter because they're embarrassed or something, but I think it is actually something that translates very easily for teachers. It's a fantastic way of developing a rapport with students.
Teachers, no matter what the area that they're teaching in, they have a way of contributing. And it might be they read a particular text in English and they discuss relationships. A teacher in teaching social sciences makes a comment when someone says something homophobic in the class. Everyone in the school can educate in terms of sexuality, education in a holistic way, which helps fill in the jigsaw pieces. It's not just about the biology. We have to think much broader than that.
It's about positive experiences of being a person. It's about good relationships, ethical sort of conduct. It's about getting on with others. It's about our feelings and emotions. It's about self-esteem and body image. It's about diversity and differences and tolerance. As soon as you label it sex ed, sometimes there's a fear around, oh, now it's going into territory I can't handle. Once we talk to teachers and then with parents about what sexuality education often is, they then are a bit more comforted about, oh no, that's the sort of stuff. Of course I want my child to learn those things. They're important.
My school was really good. We had 2 or 3 full-time counsellors who were always at the school there to see students, and also we had house coordinators. But they were a fantastic help, and all the teachers were an amazing support. Once I realised what was going on and once I spoke up about the problems I was having, all my teachers were very supportive and wonderful. So I was lucky I went to a good school. The earlier you expose kids to the reality that people are in same-sex relations, it breaks down barriers much earlier. There's no stigma, people won't be bullied. So the more education in the system and the more normalised things become, the better it'll become for everyone.
Family Planning Victoria have been contributing to the health and wellbeing of Victorians for 40 years now. We provide clinical services, we also participate in research, and we have contributed to the education of nurses, teachers and doctors.
What sets us apart is that all the practitioners in both clinic and education are current practitioners. So the doctors work in the clinic and they also train doctors. The nurses train other nurses, but they've also been the day before with a young person in the clinic. And certainly for education, our educators are always out there, teachers, and they're all out there in the classroom. We're working in primary schools, secondary schools. We know what kids are asking, we know what things they're looking at on the internet. I think that makes the stories we can tell and the information we can give to teachers much more sort of current and relevant.
We here in the education unit will train teachers to teach sex education. You actually need to educate young people to embrace their sexual and reproductive health and to make healthy choices for themselves. So we have produced a kit a resource called Safe Landing.
Safe Landing is designed by teachers for teachers, and I think that is the strength of it. It was designed really to address the barriers that schools have to teaching sex ed. So it's both a model or a way of working that schools can follow, and it's a resource kit to help you sort of work through a whole school approach to sexuality education.
Teachers always love it when they can look at something and just pick up a lesson and go with it, and it's all there prepared for them. It also means that people who might be reluctant or a little bit nervous about teaching the subject matter have all the information provided to them so they can feel confident delivering that material in the classroom.
We wanted to provide schools with ways to shortcut all the information they need, and to provide lots and lots of templates and work already done for them, and they could just adapt and use it to suit their own school community. And what we know about sexuality education is that done well, it actually works, that it does increase the chances that young people will delay their first sexual experience, and that when they have their first sexual experience they will actually be much more likely to use contraception and protection. What we aim to do is to impact on how schools are actually able to create better health outcomes for young people, particularly around the area of sexuality and sexual wellbeing.